Men are moved by two levers only, fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you to be yourself. They sell you authenticity like it's a virtue. But in the arena of power, raw authenticity is a liability. It is a flashing neon sign revealing your weaknesses, your desires, your predictable patterns. The world does not reward the unguarded, it exploits them. The naive believe sincerity is a shield. The astute wield deception as a sword. This is not about morality, it is about survival. Human interaction, stripped bare of sentimental illusions, is a game of calculated maneuvers. Every word, every gesture, every carefully constructed silence is a piece moved across the board. You are either playing or being played. To believe otherwise is to surrender your agency, to become a pawn in someone else's strategy. Most people stumble through life reacting to impulses, driven by emotions they barely understand. They are predictable. They are easily manipulated. Consider the supplicant kneeling before a king. The king does not admire the supplicant's humility. He assesses the supplicant's desperation, measures the value of his plea, and calculates the cost of granting it. The supplicant believes he is appealing to the king's better nature. The king knows he is simply evaluating an opportunity. This is the fundamental asymmetry that separates the powerful from the powerless. One operates with clarity. The other is blinded by hope. The first step in mastering human chess is acknowledging the board exists. It is recognizing that every interaction is a transaction, a subtle dance of influence and counter-influence. Your emotions are not your own. They are weapons to be deployed strategically or shields to be carefully guarded. Anger, for example, can be a tool to intimidate, to destabilize an opponent. But uncontrolled anger is a sign of weakness, an admission of vulnerability. Fear can be feigned to elicit sympathy, to lower defenses. But genuine fear is a signal to predators, an invitation to attack. Learn to observe. Learn to dissect the motivations behind every action. Question every assumption. Discard the comforting fables that have been spoon-fed to you since childhood. See people not as they present themselves, but as they truly are. Complex bundles of needs, desires, and insecurities, all vying for dominance in a world of limited resources. Do not mistake calculation for coldness. Calculation is simply a form of clarity. It is the ability to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. It is the discipline to act with intention, not impulse. It is the foundation upon which true power is built. To be truly effective, you must master the art of detachment. You must learn to observe the game from a distance, to analyze the board with a cool, objective eye. Your personal feelings are irrelevant. Only the outcome matters. This is not a game for the faint of heart. It requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs, to abandon the illusion of inherent goodness. But for those who dare to embrace the darkness, the rewards are immense. The ability to shape your own destiny, to influence the course of events, to command respect and wield authority. These are the prizes that await those who master the art of calculated human chess. The first lesson: never reveal your hand. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe they have the upper hand. And then strike with precision and finality. Human mind, a labyrinth of biases and hidden agendas, is the true chessboard. Each individual piece moves according to a complex set of internal rules, driven by emotions, insecurities, and a relentless pursuit of self-interest. Understanding these rules is paramount. Learn to decipher the subtle tells, the micro-expressions that betray hidden intentions. Master the art of active listening, not just to hear the words spoken, but to perceive the unspoken desires that lie beneath the surface. Develop a keen awareness of body language, the involuntary signals that reveal the true state of mind. A twitch of the eye, a slight shift in posture, a subtle change in tone, these are the keys to unlocking the secrets of the human psyche. Consider the mask each person wears, the persona carefully constructed to project a specific image to the world. Penetrate this facade. Look beyond the surface to discern the true character that lies beneath. What are their deepest fears? What are their hidden ambitions? What vulnerabilities can be exploited? Remember that everyone is driven by a fundamental need for validation. This need can be a powerful lever to influence behavior. By understanding what motivates an individual, you can subtly manipulate their actions, guiding them towards your desired outcome. Offer praise where it is due, but be wary of flattery, which can be easily detected and can backfire spectacularly. Instead, focus on genuine appreciation for specific qualities or accomplishments. Construct scenarios that allow them to demonstrate their strengths, thereby reinforcing their self-esteem and solidifying their allegiance. Conversely, identify their insecurities and subtly exploit them to undermine their confidence. A well-placed question, a casual remark, a carefully timed silence, these can be powerful weapons in the arsenal of the calculated strategist. Observe how individuals interact with one another, the power dynamics that dictate their relationships. Who holds the upper hand? Who is seeking approval? Who is secretly resentful? Learn to identify the fault lines in these relationships, the points of vulnerability that can be exploited to sow discord and create opportunities. Remember that conflict is inevitable. Embrace it. Use it to your advantage. Pit your opponents against each other, allowing them to weaken themselves in the process. While they are distracted by their internal squabbles, you can consolidate your position and advance your own agenda. Always maintain a neutral stance, appearing to be above the fray. Offer impartial advice, but subtly steer the conversation towards your desired outcome. The goal is not to be liked, but to be respected, even feared. Never underestimate the power of perception. Control the narrative. Shape the way events are interpreted. Frame your actions in a way that benefits your agenda, even if it requires bending the truth. Information is a weapon. Hoard it. Disseminate it strategically. Use it to manipulate public opinion, to sway decisions, to control the flow of events. Be a master of deception, but never lie outright. Instead, employ ambiguity, half-truths, and calculated omissions to create the desired impression. Remember that people tend to believe what they want to believe. Exploit this tendency to your advantage. Present your arguments in a way that aligns with their existing biases and preconceived notions. However, avoid blatant manipulation, which can be easily detected and can damage your credibility. Instead, focus on subtle persuasion, guiding your opponents towards your desired outcome without them realizing they are being influenced. Ask leading questions that steer the conversation in a specific direction. Use persuasive language to frame your arguments in a compelling way. Appeal to their emotions, their values, their sense of identity. The key is to make them believe that they are making their own decisions, even though you are subtly pulling the strings. Learn to be patient. Calculated human chess is not a game of instant gratification. It requires careful planning, meticulous execution, and unwavering resolve. Do not be discouraged by setbacks. Learn from your mistakes, adapt your strategy as needed, and never ever lose sight of your ultimate goal. The board is vast, the pieces are many, and the game is always in motion. Consider the case of a ruthless CEO maneuvering within a hostile corporate takeover. He understands the board's weaknesses, their vanity, their fear of appearing incompetent, their hunger for legacy. He begins by subtly leaking carefully curated information to the press, painting a picture of the target company as unstable and mismanaged. He doesn't fabricate data outright, but he exaggerates existing problems and downplays successes, creating an impression of impending collapse. Simultaneously, he cultivates relationships with key board members, flattering their egos and subtly hinting at the potential benefits of a merger, benefits framed entirely in terms of their personal gain and historical reputation. He schedules private dinners, offering them exclusive insights and access to privileged information, making them feel important and valued, building a sense of obligation. He identifies the dissenting voices on the board, the ones who oppose the takeover, and targets them with a different strategy. He subtly undermines their credibility by spreading rumors about their past failures and questioning their judgment. He doesn't confront them directly, but he uses indirect methods to sow doubt and suspicion among their allies. He might leak information about their personal lives or financial dealings to the press, or he might orchestrate a whispering campaign, highlighting their past mistakes and questioning their motives. He understands that fear is a powerful motivator. He creates a climate of uncertainty and anxiety, making the board members feel vulnerable and insecure. He hints at potential job losses and reputational damage if the takeover fails, forcing them to consider their own self-preservation. He frames the takeover as the only viable option, the only way to protect their interests and maintain their standing in the corporate world. He uses the company's own internal politics against itself, playing different factions against each other, creating divisions and conflicts that weaken their collective resistance. He carefully monitors the board's reactions, adjusting his strategy as needed. He anticipates their moves and counters them with precision. He is always one step ahead, manipulating the situation to his advantage. He understands the power of perception. He controls the narrative, shaping public opinion and influencing the board's decisions. He creates an illusion of inevitability, making it seem as if the takeover is already a done deal, discouraging any further resistance. He presents himself as the savior of the company, the only one who can steer it through the crisis and ensure its long-term survival. This, of course, is a carefully constructed facade, designed to mask his true intentions. His ultimate goal is not to save the company, but to seize control and maximize his own profits. He is a master of manipulation, a skilled strategist, and a ruthless player in the game of calculated human chess. His victory is assured not because he is inherently superior, but because he understands the weaknesses of his opponents and exploits them with precision and unwavering resolve. The chess pieces are the board members, their fears and desires, their ambitions and insecurities. The game is the corporate takeover, and the prize is power and control. And he will stop at nothing to achieve his objectives. His actions are not driven by malice, but by a cold, calculating logic. He sees the world as a battlefield, and he is determined to win at all costs. He has mastered the art of calculated human chess. The predictable blunder of the weak lies in their impulsive reactions. They see a threat, real or perceived, and lash out blindly, expending energy without purpose. This is a tell, a flashing neon sign broadcasting their insecurities. A skilled player observes this, catalogs it, and uses it to predict future behavior. The trap is then set, baited with a seemingly irresistible opportunity or a manufactured insult designed to trigger that predictable response. It is a test of emotional control, one which the undisciplined invariably fail. Their reaction becomes their undoing, a self-inflicted wound exploited with ruthless efficiency. They perceive themselves as acting decisively, when in reality, they are merely puppets dancing to a carefully orchestrated tune. Their emotions, their pride, their fear, are all weapons turned against them. The chess master does not engage in a direct confrontation. He does not waste his strength in a frontal assault. Instead, he manipulates the environment, creating conditions that force his opponents into making mistakes. He uses their own weaknesses against them, turning their strengths into liabilities. Their perceived advantages become the very instruments of their downfall. They cling to their outdated strategies, their rigid ideologies, blinded by their own arrogance to the changing dynamics of the game. They are so focused on their immediate goals that they fail to see the larger picture, the intricate web of cause and effect that is slowly ensnaring them. They are trapped in their own limited perspectives, unable to adapt to the evolving circumstances. The weak react, the strong calculate. The weak are driven by emotion, the strong are guided by reason. The weak are predictable, the strong are adaptable. This difference is the key to understanding the dynamics of power. The ability to control one's own emotions and to anticipate the reactions of others is a crucial skill in any competitive environment. It allows one to maintain a clear head, to make rational decisions, and to exploit the weaknesses of one's opponents. This is not about being ruthless or malicious. It is about being strategic and pragmatic. It is about understanding the rules of the game and playing them to one's advantage. The trap is not always obvious. It can be subtle, almost imperceptible, disguised as a gesture of friendship or a seemingly harmless opportunity. But its purpose is always the same: to lure the unsuspecting victim into a position of vulnerability. Once the trap is sprung, escape is nearly impossible. The victim is caught in a web of their own making, unable to break free from the consequences of their actions. They are left to face the music, to suffer the consequences of their poor judgment. The chess master watches with detached amusement, knowing that he has once again outmaneuvered his opponent. He has played the game with skill and precision, and he has emerged victorious. He understands that the game is not about brute force or sheer luck. It is about strategy, manipulation, and control. It is about understanding human nature and exploiting its weaknesses. The trap is a fundamental tool in his arsenal, a weapon of psychological warfare that allows him to achieve his objectives with minimal effort and maximum impact. It is the embodiment of calculated human chess, a game of wits and strategy in which the strong prey on the weak. The failure to recognize the trap is a sign of weakness, a testament to one's lack of awareness and vulnerability to manipulation. It is a fatal flaw in the game of power, a mistake that can cost everything. The truly skilled player anticipates not only the immediate consequences of their actions, but also the ripple effects that extend far beyond the initial move. They consider how their decisions will impact the board several turns in advance, visualizing the evolving landscape of power and influence. This requires a profound understanding of human psychology, an ability to predict how others will react to certain stimuli, and a willingness to exploit their predictable behaviors. It is a game of calculated risks and rewards, where every move is carefully weighed against its potential benefits and drawbacks. There is no room for impulsivity or emotional outbursts, only cold, rational calculation. The master strategist treats every individual as a variable in an equation, assessing their strengths, weaknesses, and motivations with detached precision. He recognizes that emotions are vulnerabilities to be exploited, and he uses them to his advantage, manipulating others into making decisions that serve his own interests. He is a puppeteer, pulling the strings of human behavior, orchestrating events to achieve his desired outcome. The objective is not simply to win the game, but to dominate the board, to establish a position of unchallenged power and control. This requires a strategic vision, an ability to see the bigger picture and to anticipate future trends. The master strategist is not content with short-term gains. He seeks to build a lasting legacy, a dynasty of power that will endure for generations to come. He understands that true power lies not in brute force but in the ability to shape the narrative, to control the flow of information, and to influence the perceptions of others. This is the art of calculated human chess, a game of psychological warfare where the stakes are high and the rewards are immense. The ability to adapt to changing circumstances is also paramount. The chessboard is never static. It is a dynamic environment where alliances shift, fortunes rise and fall, and unexpected events can disrupt even the most carefully laid plans. The master strategist is not rigid in his thinking. He is flexible and adaptable, able to adjust his strategy as needed to overcome new challenges and exploit new opportunities. He is a master of improvisation, able to think on his feet and to make quick decisions under pressure. He understands that the only constant is change, and he embraces it as an opportunity to refine his strategy and to gain an advantage over his opponents. Furthermore, the most dangerous players are those who appear to be harmless. They cultivate an image of vulnerability or incompetence, lulling their opponents into a false sense of security. They use humility and self-deprecation as weapons, disarming their rivals and making them underestimate their true capabilities. These players are masters of deception, able to hide their true intentions behind a facade of innocence and naivete. They are the wolves in sheep's clothing, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. This calculated approach extends to building alliances. The chess master recognizes that even the most powerful individual cannot achieve their goals alone. They need allies, partners who can provide support, resources, and expertise. However, alliances are not based on friendship or loyalty. They are based on mutual self-interest. The master strategist chooses their allies carefully, selecting individuals who can advance their goals and who pose no threat to their own power. He understands that alliances are temporary and that they can be broken at any time. Therefore, he always maintains a degree of independence and self-reliance, ensuring that he is not overly dependent on any one individual or group. He is a master of networking, able to cultivate relationships with people from all walks of life. He understands that information is power, and he uses his network to gather intelligence, to monitor the activities of his rivals, and to identify new opportunities. The best defense, therefore, is a keen awareness of one's own vulnerabilities. Recognizing your weaknesses is not a sign of inadequacy. It is a sign of strength. It allows you to take steps to protect yourself from exploitation and to develop strategies to overcome your limitations. The master strategist is brutally honest with himself, acknowledging his flaws and working to improve them. He understands that self-awareness is the foundation of all true power. The end game is not simply about acquiring power. It is about wielding it responsibly and effectively. The master strategist understands that power comes with responsibility and that it must be used wisely. He does not seek power for its own sake. He seeks it as a means to achieve his goals and to create a lasting impact on the world. He is a leader, a visionary who inspires others to follow him and to work towards a common purpose. Consider the vast chessboard of empires, where the pieces are not carved from ivory, but forged from ambition and etched with the faces of men. Each nation, a king, queen, or rook, maneuvering for territory, resources, and ultimately dominance. The rise and fall of empires is not dictated by chance, but by the calculated moves of those who command them, by their ability to anticipate the actions of their rivals, to exploit weaknesses, and to protect their own vulnerabilities. Look to the Roman Empire, a testament to strategic brilliance. Its expansion was not merely a series of conquests, but a meticulously planned campaign of political maneuvering, military might, and cultural assimilation. Each province, a carefully positioned pawn, secured and defended with unwavering resolve. The Roman legions, the ultimate instruments of power, were not simply bands of warriors, but highly disciplined and organized units, capable of executing complex maneuvers on the battlefield, adapting to changing circumstances, and maintaining cohesion under immense pressure. Their success was not solely due to superior weaponry, but to superior strategy, to the ability to anticipate the enemy's moves, to exploit their weaknesses, and to maintain a clear chain of command. The emperor, the grandmaster of this deadly game, surveyed the landscape, assessing the strengths and weaknesses of his opponents, identifying opportunities for expansion, and anticipating threats to his authority. He understood that every decision, no matter how small, could have profound consequences, and that a single misstep could lead to the downfall of his empire. He cultivated alliances, forged treaties, and engaged in diplomatic maneuvering to isolate his enemies and to secure his own position. He understood that war was not simply a matter of brute force, but a complex game of strategy and deception. He used propaganda to demoralize his enemies, to sow dissent within their ranks, and to undermine their will to resist. He employed spies to gather intelligence, to monitor the activities of his rivals, and to anticipate their moves. He understood that information was power, and he used it to his advantage. The decline of the Roman Empire serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that even the most powerful empire can fall victim to internal strife, to external pressures, and to strategic miscalculations. The emperors who followed were often less skilled, less decisive, and less able to adapt to changing circumstances. They allowed internal divisions to fester, they neglected the military, and they made strategic errors that weakened the empire. The barbarians, sensing weakness, began to encroach on Roman territory, probing its defenses and exploiting its vulnerabilities. The empire, once a mighty fortress, gradually crumbled, succumbing to the weight of its own internal contradictions and the relentless pressure of its enemies. The lessons of the Roman Empire are timeless, applicable not only to the realm of geopolitics, but to all aspects of human endeavor. The ability to think strategically, to anticipate the actions of your rivals, to exploit weaknesses, and to protect your own vulnerabilities is essential for success in any field. Consider the art of war as distilled by Sun Tzu in his seminal work, The Art of War. This treatise, written centuries ago, remains a cornerstone of strategic thinking, offering insights into the dynamics of conflict, the importance of planning, and the art of deception. Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of knowing yourself and your enemy, of understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and of exploiting the vulnerabilities of your opponent. He advocated for careful planning, for the use of deception, and for the importance of adapting to changing circumstances. He stressed the need to avoid unnecessary conflict, to strike swiftly and decisively when necessary, and to always be prepared for the unexpected. His teachings are not simply about military strategy. They are about the art of navigating complex situations, of achieving your goals through careful planning and execution, and of understanding the dynamics of power. The modern corporation, in its own way, is a battlefield where companies compete for market share, for talent, and for dominance. The CEOs and executives who lead these companies are the generals, strategizing, maneuvering, and making decisions that can determine the fate of their organizations. They must anticipate the actions of their competitors, they must identify new opportunities, and they must protect their companies from threats. They must cultivate relationships with customers, with suppliers, and with other stakeholders. They must understand the dynamics of the market, they must anticipate changes in consumer behavior, and they must adapt their strategies accordingly. The companies that thrive are those that are able to think strategically, to anticipate the future, and to execute their plans effectively. The companies that fail are those that are complacent, that are slow to adapt, and that are unable to anticipate the challenges that lie ahead. The game of human chess, whether played on the battlefield, in the boardroom, or in the arena of personal relationships, requires a keen understanding of human nature, a mastery of strategy, and an unwavering commitment to achieving your goals. It requires the ability to see the board clearly, to anticipate the moves of your opponents, and to exploit their weaknesses. It requires the courage to take risks, the discipline to execute your plans, and the resilience to overcome setbacks. The master strategist is not simply a skilled player. He is a visionary, a leader, and a master of human psychology. He understands that power is not simply about force or domination. It is about influence, persuasion, and the ability to inspire others to follow you. He uses his knowledge, his skills, and his understanding of human nature to achieve his goals, to create a lasting impact, and to leave his mark on the world. He understands that the game is never truly over, that the chessboard is constantly evolving, and that the challenges never cease. He embraces the complexity, he relishes the competition, and he strives always to improve his skills and to refine his strategies. The true chess master understands that every interaction, every negotiation, every relationship is a complex game of calculated moves and countermoves. It is not a game of malice, necessarily, but one of understanding and influence. To master this game, you must first master yourself. You must understand your own strengths and weaknesses, your own motivations and fears. Only then can you truly understand others. Observe their patterns, their tells, the subtle shifts in their demeanor that betray their intentions. Listen not just to what they say, but to what they leave unsaid. Analyze their actions, not just their words. Discern their underlying desires, their hidden agendas, their unspoken fears. This is not mere observation. It is calculated empathy, a tool to anticipate their moves and manipulate their responses. See them not as allies or enemies, but as pieces on the board, each with its own unique capabilities and limitations. Understand the value of each piece and how it can be used to advance your strategic goals. Learn to sacrifice pawns to protect your queen, to lure your opponent into traps, to create openings that will allow you to deliver the final, decisive blow. Mastery of human chess demands detachment. Sentimentality is a weakness, a vulnerability that can be exploited. Emotions cloud judgment, they lead to impulsive decisions, they make you predictable. Cultivate a calm, analytical mind, a mind that can assess situations objectively without being swayed by personal feelings. Learn to control your own emotions, to mask your intentions, to present a facade of calm indifference, even when you are under pressure. Let your opponents believe that they have the upper hand, that they are in control, that they are about to achieve victory. Use their overconfidence against them, lure them into complacency, and then strike with ruthless precision. Embrace the power of strategic ambiguity. Let your intentions be unclear, your motivations opaque. Keep your opponents guessing, force them to waste their energy trying to decipher your next move. The element of surprise is a powerful weapon. Use it to disrupt their plans, to throw them off balance, to gain a decisive advantage. Never underestimate the power of information. Knowledge is the currency of power, the key to unlocking strategic opportunities. Gather as much information as possible about your opponents, their strengths and weaknesses, their allies and enemies, their past successes and failures. Use this information to anticipate their moves, to exploit their vulnerabilities, to create opportunities for manipulation and control. Develop a network of informants, people who can provide you with valuable insights into the inner workings of your opponent's organizations and relationships. Cultivate these relationships carefully, reward loyalty and punish betrayal. Never reveal the source of your information, protect your informants at all costs. Information is a weapon, and like any weapon, it must be handled with care and discretion. Be patient. The game of human chess is not a sprint, it is a marathon. It requires patience, discipline, and a long-term perspective. Do not be discouraged by setbacks, learn from your mistakes, and continue to refine your strategies. The chessboard is constantly evolving, the rules are constantly changing, and the challenges never cease. Embrace the complexity, relish the competition, and strive always to improve your skills and to refine your strategies. Remember, the ultimate goal is not simply to win the game, but to master the art of strategic thinking, to become a master of human psychology, and to leave your mark on the world. Understand that true power is not brute force, but the ability to shape the perceptions and influence the actions of others. Learn to craft narratives, to control the flow of information, to manipulate the emotions of your audience. Become a master of persuasion, a master of influence, a master of control. The game demands constant adaptation. What works today may fail tomorrow. Complacency is a fatal flaw. Observe the evolving landscape, anticipate shifts in power, and adjust your strategies accordingly. Learn to leverage alliances, but never trust them completely. Every player is ultimately motivated by self-interest. Maintain a network of options, a plan B, a contingency for every possible scenario. Recognize that true power lies not in dominating others, but in understanding them, in anticipating their moves, and in subtly guiding them towards your desired outcome. The master strategist understands that the chessboard is not a static entity, but a dynamic, ever-changing landscape. He is not simply a player, he is an architect, a creator, a master of manipulation. He shapes the game to his advantage. He anticipates the moves of his opponents, and he orchestrates the final, decisive checkmate. He understands that the game is never truly over, that the chessboard is constantly evolving, and that the challenges never cease. He embraces the complexity, he relishes the competition, and he strives always to improve his skills and to refine his strategies. He sees beyond the immediate conflict, beyond the individual pieces, to the grand strategic vision that guides his every move. He understands that the true measure of success is not simply winning the game, but mastering the art of strategic thinking and leaving a lasting impact on the world. Now survey the board. Identify the pieces you can control, the players you can influence, the narratives you can shape.